Hey, welcome back to another Mind and Mike podcast. I'm your host, Shubs. Funny thing is, I've done 90 plus of these and I haven't said that. So my family keep giving me stick to say who I am. So yeah, I'm your host, Shubs. That's not my government name, but that's what people know me as. And I'm here with a very special guest. I say special guest all the time, but this one's actually special to me because it takes me back to being a kid and the nostalgia of being a child and thinking, oh, I want to do moves like this guy. So this guy's pretty cool to me, or he was when I was a kid anyway. 100%. He used to play for the Blues, won a chip with the Blues in 2003, was World Sevens Player of the Year in 2005, played obviously Sevens for Manu Samoa as well in 98, and Sevens for New Zealand, and played for multiple clubs in the 15-a-side game all around the world. My man Orene Ai'i, what's up, Uzo?
Hey, what's up, Uzo? Thanks for having me, man. It's awesome to be on here.
Nah, all good, brother. All good. Straight up, it's grateful to have you. For anybody that doesn't know about you, brother, can you let them know a bit more than what I just said, or where you come from, and all of that? And take us back to a young Orene.
Yeah. So born and raised in Apia, Western Samoa. Mum and dad and three sisters. Went to school in Samoa for a little bit, and then mum and dad decided they wanted to, I guess back then, give us a better opportunity and maybe see the bright lights of Otara. So they made the big move.
Bright lights.
Yeah, they made the big move in '87, and so been here since, and obviously always been based in South Auckland in Otara. Went to school at Otahu College, Papatoetoe Intermediate too, and then played all my rugby, junior rugby with Otahu. And then just sort of made my way up the rugby ranks, and then ended up, like you said, winning a championship with the Blues. And
what a team too, brother! Is it a weapon team, eh?
Yeah, that was a special team. The likes of Doug Howlett, Mills Muliaina, Sammy Tutupo, and can't forget old Rupeni Thou.
What a man, G. What a man.
It was a special team. But yeah, so for me, coming from Samoa to Otara, meeting new friends, and obviously getting to watch the All Blacks for the first time. During that World Cup, the '87 World Cup. So I guess that's
where, that's right, '87. Yeah.
So that's where it kind of, guess.
So how old are you at that time, brother? 87 when you come over.
What's 7 going on 8 years. 7 going
on 8.
Oh
yeah, you can remember pretty. Oh yeah, that's me. Hearty memories then.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
What was it like though, growing up in Samoa, brother? Can you speak on that a little bit, like for people that don't know?
Yeah, it was real cool. Obviously, mum was a school teacher. Dad was a health inspector, and also did a bit of work, customs at the airport there. So, but I have I quite remember a lot of my childhood in Samoa. Walking barefoot, obviously to school, playing rugby. Back in Samoa, we didn't have rugby balls then. We used to break a branch off the tree, and that was our rugby ball. Or taking a husk, whatever plastic bottle, we just made do with what we had, but I still remember the stick, and I joke about it everywhere I go. I think I put down my good handling skills from catching those sticks, because if I missed it, I would have hit in the eye. But yeah, it was cool. And then I remember mum and dad had friends from Germany come over, and I was probably about 5 or 6 at the time. And Mark and Yvonne were their names. They came over to Samoa, stayed with us, and that was the first time I climbed climbed Mount Waia. I had to go and take them. I don't know why. 5, 6 years old, but I walked up there with my jandals.
And they had all
yeah. So IE tours, but yeah, that was fun.
If the coaching don't work out, that's my view.
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, exactly.
No, cool, man. That's on. Shout out to that young. Was it difficult going from Samoa to Aotearoa, like language, or did you speak good English then? Were you sweet?
So we part of the schooling we had to learn English.
Oh,
So
okay.
we spoke English, but it was fresh as. um, but yeah, so we understood. And obviously, Mum being an English teacher,
Oh, yeah.
she made sure that we were grammatically correct and what we said, and yeah. So my sisters and I always have a laugh because we always get corrected by Mum, but we understood and obviously spoke enough English to get us by when we were here. But then once we found
Yeah,
our feet, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah, solid. What was it like growing up in Otara? Obviously, pretty hectic in Otara.
Yeah, I mean, like I grew up and I used to hear the names Ruben Wiki, Joe Pomale,
Yeah.
those guys there running around Otara, and then just obviously the flea markets, and then back then I think it was as the old Tongan Samoan rivalries were
Oh,
quite quite hot back then. So it was quite an eye opener for us coming from Samoa and experiencing, I guess, the disconnect, if you'd
mm.
say, back then. But I'm just glad that times have changed, and we moved past that, and everybody's somewhat getting along.
Solid, brother. So, where did you talking about Otahu going there? Where did you get your first sort of like crack at like some representative stuff? Was it even as a youngster? Or?
Yeah, so I played for South Auckland Walter Dixons. I don't know if you remember the Walter Dixons. It kind of they changed it to Bill McLaren after a while because the boys started getting heavier. But I think the weight class back then was like under 35 or something like that, under
Oh,
40,
true.
under 40 kg. So you know, but yeah, that was kind of my first taste of, um, I guess, rep rugby, so to speak. So it was South Auckland Mulder Dixons, and then went on and played for the Auckland, under 13 and under 14s and whatnot. So, but it was
Was there
cool.
some
Like,
guns in that team back then?
yes, our club team, we had Selala Mapsua,
Oh, true.
um, back then he was so we played for Otahu under 13, and he was a
Yeah.
hooker back then.
Oh, hooker.
So he was a
not
hooker for our under
not the
13
center.
side, and Tim Matangi, who was, I think he made his reputation from being in purest form. He was one of those Rainbow Zen singers.
Oh, true.
He
Yeah,
played,
the Rainbow
played
Seed
rugby with
singer.
us as well. Ben Sa, um, out of Manurewa, but he went on to have a great career in France. So
Oh,
um,
solid.
yeah, so some really good players. In you had the likes of Ali Titi coming through, who was playing rugby and league at the same time.
What a
So yeah,
beast there. Bro.
yeah,
So many people's favorite back row when you go to do like who's your first 13 of all time. Everybody peeps and people I talk to always pick Ali, and they're not even
yeah,
Warriors fans too.
yeah.
Hey,
I know.
unbelievable.
He was the Michael Jordan. They called him the
Yeah, that's what
Michael
they
Jordan
said.
of
Eh?
rugby league back then. So
Yeah,
he was pretty special, man.
yeah. Even when he was playing rugby, where was he playing when he was playing rugby? What position?
So at Oru College, we had him at centre for our first 15. So pretty easy move to miss two, get it to Ali. 1-3 cut, give it to Ali. So everything kind of revolved around Ali. So yeah,
Yeah, and
we
Silky
knew.
then too, offloads of Doom and everything else.
Yeah,
Too.
yeah. Like he was amazing. And I don't think many people know this about Ali, but he was probably more of a basketballer, than
Oh,
a
true.
than a rugby or rugby league player. Like, he's amazing at basketball. Like, some of the stuff he used to do on the basketball court, you like, "Yeah, huh." So he
Oh,
was
I
amazing.
seen you remember Mateo? used to play for the Warriors
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Tonga and that. Yeah, I
yeah,
seen the podcast of him talking about how, because he was pretty silky too, that like it
yeah.
was all from basketball where his skills come from. Like,
Yeah, well, I jumped on their podcast a couple of weeks ago. Him
oh
and
yeah,
Eddie Pryor, the Poly
oh yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
He
the
came over
boys.
here for a couple of days, and I got the chance to jump on there, and he spoke about his time as a basketballer too, and he I guess he puts that his skill set down to basketball, which is those guys are pretty silky too.
How'd you go on at basketball, brother? Allen Iverson or what?
Useless. Mate, nah, don't talk to me. Don't put my name and basketball in the same sentence, mate, because
Nah,
of
oh
this.
shit.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, solid, solid.
Left
'Cause
feet,
just different the ways, different vibes, different rhythms too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're playing around and mucking around with the boys, you think you look good. You think you're doing good, eh? But then when you go to shoot, then you're just Shaquille O'Neal.
You, you're the
Just
brick.
throwing bricks, mate.
But so how do you end up getting in? Like you make Auckland first? What's the go? Like from your like in out of high
yeah,
school
it
and all.
was, it was, it was a buzzy thing. Like once I started making these age grade teams, I kind of realized that I had there was something there,
Yeah,
and like from I go back when I was probably about 11, 12 years old, around that time when I was playing for Otahu with Lala and those boys. Like my parents didn't have a car,
oh
and
true.
we lived in Otara, and our
Yeah,
Otahu team was training out in Mangu East, Mangere East at the Mount
yeah,
the Hawks rugby field. So from school, I'd walk to training. But
yeah.
then on Saturdays, if my uncle, my uncle wasn't going that way, he'll drop me off. But if he wasn't, then I'd just walk, and it used to take me probably about 2 hours. Yeah, about
Back
2
in
hours,
my
like
day, yeah.
yeah,
Back
yeah.
in my day.
So,
Holy Rick.
I used to yeah, and I did that for most of, that year, like around 93, 94.
What do
Um,
you reckon? They must have built some kind of resilience in you, though, brother. Like if you think about it, to be that keen to just walk 2 hours to go to
yeah,
play football,
yeah,
or train
I
or
just
whatever.
yeah. Obviously, the vision of me watching the All Blacks win that 1987 World Cup and seeing John Kirwan and Joe Stanley and Michael Jones, and that, I was like, man, I want to be like those guys. So just
Mm,
that determination to try and get to that level. And I guess for me, like, just I just wanted to be the best rugby player I could be, and I was going to do anything in my power to play rugby, whether it was club representative rugby. I just wanted to play rugby all the time, and I every now and then I go and joke. And I joke about when I speak at schools, I say, oh, I think I was lucky. The only thing that I passed at school was a rugby ball. So, and everybody cracks up,
it did you well, though.
it's
So it did you well.
yeah, it turned out not too bad for me, but yeah, it's but I had a cousin who played for Manu Samoa,
Okay. What was his name?
To'o um,
Torovainga.
he played for the Highlanders and the Blues. Him and I got to play alongside each other for the Blues in 2001.
Oh,
Um,
true. What position did he
he
play? I don't remember, but
He was a
other than he
centre.
played,
So if
I
you
said,
remember the 91 World Cup when Manu Samoa played Wales, he scored the
yeah, I've
first
seen. Yeah,
first try. He
yeah.
scored that try, the chip and kick and chase try, and
Oh,
that's
there
where
was the bro.
yeah. So
Oh,
and then he named his eldest son Cardiff, because that's where the game was, and he scored the first try, and they beat Wales in that game. So his oldest son is
yes.
called Cardiff.
Hey, mean.
So
Oh,
in the school holidays,
that's a cool reason for
yeah,
the
yeah,
name and thing.
that's buzzy. Yeah, so in the school holidays, I used to either, if I wasn't going with my parents and my cousins onion picking,
Yeah,
I
up the onion
was
picking.
yeah, down in Pukekohe there. I was with To'o and just training the house down, like, and I guess that's where I got my mindset and in terms of working hard, my work ethic, making sure that if I wanted it, I'll train hard, and go out and put the hard yards in. And so he kind of taught me that. Obviously, dad, mum and dad, they taught me. I saw hard work and them catching 4 to 5 buses to go to work just to work for us.
Yeah.
But we're on the rugby side of things, To'o was the one that kind of guided me in that direction.
At
If
least
you'd
you
say.
had it. That's cool, brother, to hear that. Like just the different people that I speak to. I spoke to Faledi from Nisia Mystic yesterday, and he was talking about a lot of people didn't know that Scribe Scribe lived at his house when Scribe was like 15, 16, and that
Yeah,
helped. Even though he was already writing rhymes, Scribe was like really into it, and it helped them push them in
yeah,
a way, sort of similar to what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. So it's cool how we have all these different influences in our lives that come through and kind of, I guess, shape us in the way we go. So yeah, I was
Yeah,
quite
100%. And so, how old are you when you get to crack for? Was it NPC first or?
NPC first, and like I got, you get used to goal setting, and I remember I set my goals at, when I was at school, Sem Form 97 at Otahu, and I was like, okay, I did a 5-year plan for myself. I said, well, in 5 years, I want to be playing for Auckland, you know, and about 7 years, I'd want to be playing Super Rugby and, All Blacks, whatnot. And it was amazing. Like I had my goals stuck up on my wall,
Yeah.
and each day I'll go out, I'll have a look at it, remind myself that's where I want to get to in 5 years. But my 98, obviously my first year out of school, I make, I represent Manu Samoa in the sevens,
Yeah.
and I go on the circuit there, and
Was
now I'm
that pretty
playing.
cool? Like parents and them must have been pretty proud, brother. Like you're repping
Yeah,
their
yeah,
country, or
yeah. It was cool. Like mum and dad, I think it was a surprise for them how rapid my progress into that, I guess, that level
yeah.
was. So 98, first year out of school, I make Manu Samoa. I make my debut for Auckland, playing down in Southland against Peter Alatini and those boys.
Gee, the
Um,
Stags.
yeah, the Stags, and then from there, um, played the whole kind of, back then it wasn't a circuit. They just had about 10 or 15 tournaments around the world in sevens.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we just traveled, um,
How many did
and
you play in that year?
it was I played all the tournaments for Samoa that year. And I remember there was a couple of us. There was only 2 boys that were traveling from Auckland, or New
Mm.
Zealand based, for Samoa. So we'd always fly to Samoa,
Was
stay
any
there.
of yous in there? Like how you did the circle? Were any of the players or still around when they won the series, like years later, or
Yep.
like
So
that you played
Derek
with?
Rush was there. You know.
Oh no! Sorry,
Oh, for,
Samoa.
for
You know how
Samoa.
Samoa, you know how they ended up winning.
Nah,
You
no,
guys ended
no,
up
no,
winning
no
later
one.
on.
Yeah, all the new breed came through. Like
Oh, okay.
98, we had Semos TT,
Oh
Tor
yes.
Samania, Onehanga Matauiao, so all these old boys that were there. And then obviously Brian Lima was part of that team as well. So he was
Oh
doing
man,
17, 15s, yeah. So
chiropractor.
yeah, yeah.
What was
So
he
and
like,
then
brother, as a
99.
person? Was he all right? Like around to be around? Or was he
Oh
scary
yeah.
man?
Oh, he's a tough man. Like, he kind of knew where he stood, with him.
Yeah.
Um, it was either his way or, you know, or get a slap around the ears. But no, but that's how it was back then. And and it was just the thing to do, get in line and sit down. As a young fella, you just listen and do what you're told and try and play the best you can. And then 99, obviously signed my first full-time contract with Auckland.
Mhm.
Um, made the switch over to New Zealand Sevens, with Titch.
Oh, how did that happen, brother? Like, was the rules not the same as they are? Like, as they?
Nah, so I had a mentor, Gordon Hunter, who was an All Black selector,
Yeah.
and coach back then. obviously passed away now. But he was my mentor, and I asked him. I said, would this affect my chances in representing New Zealand in the future or whatnot? So he actually wrote a letter to the IRB, which is World Rugby now, and
Yeah.
they came back and he said, they said because I was 18, I was, it wasn't going to affect my me playing for New Zealand or in the future.
True.
So I made the switch, and obviously, with the family in mind, the financial, I guess,
Yes.
benefits or security that we were getting there. So I made the switch there, and then that same year I got caught up to the Hurricanes. So my 5-year plan that I drew up in '97, happened, you know,
And
one
like
year.
what, 2 years? Yeah, 1 year. 1 year.
Well, and yeah, so it happened the very next year, and then I just carried on from there. So yeah, it was.
Did you write any more goals, brother? Like, do you think that's like for young people listening or anybody that's listening that might even be older and not even in rugby, but in any facet of life? Do you think goal setting is very important, or like how paramount do you
Yeah, I
think that
think
is?
I think it's key, and I, we were lucky enough to have, like, for me anyway, I was lucky enough to have To'o, who
Mm,
showed me that. Then meeting Eric Rush, and he was all about goal setting and setting standards. So I think it's really important, whatever walk and whatever you do, and business, school, sports, whatever. I think it's really important that you you write it down, because then at least you're accountable to it. And
mm,
if you see it every day, it's going to remind you that. And I guess for young players now, or young people coming through now, it's like we feel like we failed when we don't achieve or we don't make a team. And they think, oh, that's the end of it. Where if you just keep going back to your main goal, whether it's a setback through injury or non-selection, you just keep that at the forefront of your thinking. You're always going to do the work to try and to,
yeah.
to make that, and obviously put yourself in a position where you do get selected. From I'm speaking from a rugby standpoint here.
Yeah.
But then I tell a lot of these players that selection, whether you make it or not, it's only one man's opinion. You know, because the next guy, the next coach, or the next boss may see something in you that the last coach didn't. So it's, don't give up, I guess, is the theme here. Just persevere, and keep working hard, keep grinding, because the next
Mhm.
coach or the next boss that's going to come in may see great value in what you bring to the table. So it's never a failure. It's always an opportunity to grow as an individual, and I guess upskill yourself, and keep doing that. Yeah.
No, well said, brother. Well said. So you debut, get to play for the Hurricanes, brother. Who's in there? There must be some weapons in that team too. The old
Had Kali
Hurricanes at the
there,
time.
Tana, Philo Tiatia,
Kali.
Norm Hill was the captain there. So,
Oh yeah.
and it's a funny story, because Glenn Osborne, Glenn Osborne was there, Ozzy was there, Ruben Parkinson, Martor Parkinson. So, and back then, like, we didn't have the flash houses that the boys are staying in now. The out of town boys, they stay in flash houses now. Like, we used to stay at the police barracks in Porido.
Oi.
I remember. So it was like, yeah, a flatmate, and I don't know if you remember Mark Cooksley. He was like, back then, he was like the tallest lock in world rugby at the time. He was like
Oh, was he?
2.1 or something, like he was 2 meters, whatever. And they made me flat with him,
Oh, gee.
and he was straight as a friggin',
Oh, gee. Yeah.
so he was pretty, he was pretty straight dude, like,
Yep.
never really talked much, and so it's funny, like, after trainings, you'll go, oh, we're gonna stop off at Pack and Save on the way, to Poridoa. We'll train
Yep.
in the city, and we'll, drive back, and he goes, oh, we're gonna stop off at Pack and Save. So we've got our Hurricanes gear on, and so he makes me push the trolley. So you got this like 2 meter tall dude, and then this 5 foot nothing dude that that's and we're both wearing Hurricanes gears, and like I'm sure everybody that saw us every time we were in the pack and save, they were like, "Oh man, look at that father and son, supporting the Canes." And I was like, I used to hate it all the time. I used to just go, "Fuck, man." So, and we used to so our barrack or our place, our house that was opposite Glenn Osborne and Reuben Parkinson's
True.
house. So they could see into our living room, right? And
That would have been fun. The fun barrack,
oh,
the fun
so
room.
I'll be sitting in the sitting room with Rick, Mark Cooksley, and like I'm watching TV and I'm trying to spark up a conversation, and he's just giving me nothing. And then I look out the window, our living room window, and I can see Glenn Osborne and Reuben Parkinson just laughing, like pointing at us. And then, so like I just after 10 minutes, I was going, "Oh, yeah, man, I want to shoot a." I just walk out and he's just like, yeah, whatever. And I go
True.
next door and I see Aussie and they go, "Wow, how cool was that conversation you guys had?" I was like, stuff you guys, man. They used to just mock me all the time, every time they saw us sitting in the lounge. Like, just,
So what was it, like a 2-bedroom flat out or like sort of thing?
yeah, it was a two, like we had our own bedrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
that would have been even worse, because having the same bedroom.
imagine that, having to share a room.
A bunk too. No.
Oh, yeah. So it's good times back then.
Yeah, no, solid, brother. Shout out to the bro Mark Cooksley, eh?
Yeah. Sure,
So, so you had the Hurricanes. How many games? Did you get many games, Dundee?
I went down. I played 3 games for the Canes. Yeah, and then I remember we played in New Plymouth, and my roommate was Alama Yeremia. So he was there. He's my roommate, and we played the Chiefs, and that's when Jonah was with the Chiefs at that time, 99.
Chiefs Manakas.
Yeah. So I guess I sub on, and I'm marking Jonah, and I'm like, bruh, no. And they like overlaps all day, and I can hear Jonah go, "Hurry up, overlap." I was like, "No, just." And he finally gets it. He drops the first time. I was like, yeah, lucky, yeah, So, but nah, just the boys and the Canes, and obviously Jonah and those guys just ripping stuff up back then. It was cool to watch. I was probably in the best seat. I had the best seat in the house. Like I got to play alongside these guys, and I got to watch them.
Yeah. What about Cully? Because a lot of people say their favorite Hurricanes player. Well, was he like? Was he just was he weapon just a weapon, brother? Or like watching
Yeah,
him
he was
pretty mean?
quiet. Like Cully was quiet. He just went about his work, and came in, did what he had to do, and he was out again. But the stuff we all know what he used to do on the field, and and stuff like that, just amazing. And but like,
what do you think made him so good already?
I guess he was, just being from Paikakariki there. They called him the Paikakariki Express. I guess just him wanting to, I guess, put his mark on the rugby scene, and just that drive to, man, I'm skinny white boy. Well, he's Samoan, but not many people knew that. But he was just like, I want to show you guys, what this skinny white guy can do. And I guess just his drive, like, you see it every time he ran out on the field.
Yeah.
He wanted to dominate and wanted to do well, and I guess he drove everybody around him to want to be great too. But yeah, that was cool to see.
Solid. So where do you go from there, brother? From Hurricanes off? Where does the next port of call?
So Canes, and then I finally get picked up with the Blues.
See you later, Cooksley.
yeah, man. Yeah, I want to go talk to some guys that want to talk back to me. But yeah, I made my debut for the Blues in 2000.
Are you living at? Are you back at home? What's the? Are you back
Back
with
in
mum and
Auckland now,
dad?
yeah, back in Auckland. So just still grinding now. I got a sponsor car now. From Ford. Oh
Crack.
man, I remember that too. I remember when I first got my Ford from Auckland Rugby, and I
Yeah.
drove through Otahu, and me and my partner at the time, we were driving through, and this cop pulled me over. It's like, oh, here we go. They pulled me over, and back then I didn't like. I think I still had my learner's license, but we had ID cards for the Blues. Like we had a Blues ID card, and I was so nervous that he was like, "Oh, give me your driver's license." I just pulled out the first thing that I see, and I didn't even know it was the Blues card.
Yeah.
I gave it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, head down," and he was like, "Is this your car?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, you play for the Blues?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "When did you get the car?" I said, "Oh, yesterday." And he goes, "Oh yeah, you're free to go." I was like, "Thanks." Yeah, and I was like,
Let's go, brother.
"Don't you see guys driving over who with these cars, man?" I was like, but yeah, so
You just seen a brown fella driving a new this fella,
that
eh?
looks a
Full
bit
on.
odd, eh? Just the stock
Hey,
right. Yeah, but nah,
no,
yeah, so
solid.
it was fun. But yeah, so Blues 2000, obviously NPC at the same time. So back then I was doing sevens, NPC, Super Rugby, back to
Hectic,
back.
brother. What
Yeah,
a
yeah.
schedule.
So
What
yeah,
a schedule,
so
because and who's some of the when did you how many games did you end up playing for the Blues, say all the way leading up to that first the first season, I guess, but all the way up to that chip? How many you played quite a few games?
yeah, I think I've all up. I was on like 40 something for 40. I can't remember, but I
Yeah.
was 40,
What
40 odd,
what's it like
46.
touring, brother, like in Super Rugby, like because obviously back then you could go to South Africa and all that, or was that pretty
Yeah,
cool? Or
yeah, it was cool. Like obviously being to South Africa, like before going with the Blues and Super Rugby teams to South
no,
Africa.
sevens, eh?
Yeah, we had already toured with the sevens,
Mm.
so we kind of got an idea of what it was going to be like, and
Got any
um,
stories, brother, of South Africa at all?
I've got a real cool one. Yeah, heaps of stories.
Yeah.
But
Oh, not those ones. No, 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 no.
yeah,
No, what have
not
you
those
got one of
stories.
these? Yeah.
But 98. It was 98. We went over for the New Zealand Colts, and
Yep.
we had Doug Howler, Rico Gear, um,
Ooh.
you know, Finau Maka, Xavier Rush, and those guys. Joe Nafahu,
Oh, true.
he was part of that group. And I remember so back then there was 5 teams. There was England, Australia, Argentina, South Africa, and New Zealand. And we went over. We had a pretty good side, and that was the worst New Zealand Colts team because we came, we came second to last. We came
Oh,
second to
come
last
on.
early year. Right.
Oh, the
And I
shame, me.
remember, yeah. So from there, we after the tournament, we go out and we're at this club, and I remember the Aussies, because the Aussies won it that year, and they had Phil War, Alton Flatley, um, all those boys, and I remember they
Not
were
too
on a
bad, eh?
yeah, pretty Matt Dunning. So he was the
Oh,
prop
the,
there, and
the, the,
they,
goal,
they were
the drop
dancing.
kicking prop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they were dancing in this club on the tables and stuff like that. We obviously we came fourth, so we were sitting down. So we're just doing what we do and just listening to music, and then this group of dudes in trench coats come in, and they start beating up the Aussie boys, eh?
Oh, eh?
And yeah, they start beating up the Aussie boys, and Phil War there, he got stabbed in the neck that year. So those
Oh,
boys stabbed
true.
Phil War in the neck, just missed his throat
Oh,
by
right.
a centimeter. Matt Dunning's jumped in to help, and then I think he ended up with two broken cheekbones, a broken leg, because they just you know. So the Kiwi
Oh,
boys,
you
once we
rook.
saw that, we gapped it, Like we left.
Let
I
him out.
remember I grabbed, and it was around. It was, I think that time was Nelson Mandela's birthday, around that
Oh,
time.
true.
So I
They
grabbed
might
Joe in
have
the
thought the bro
whakao and
was
I said, "Bro," I
disrespecting
said,
me or something. Far out.
we're out. I said, "Nah, let's jump in the taxi. We'll go
Yep.
back to the hotel." So me and Joey, we jump in the taxi. We're driving back to the hotel, and then my mate gets hungry. He goes, "Oh, I'm hungry, man. Let's stop for some food." So, "Oh, taxi driver, can you pull over?" So we pull over into this burger joint, and a few people outside celebrating Nelson Mandela's birthday, and I'm standing in line with Joey, and Joey looks at this, South African dude, and he goes, "What's up, bro?" And this guy just gives him nothing, and I'm trying to order. I was like, "Nah, sorry about him. He's a little bit drunk, blah, blah, blah." And then I start ordering, and I turn around, and Joey's not next to me, and I was like, "Fuck, where is he?" And I look outside. He's in the middle of this group of South Africans. He's just yelling out, "Nelson Mandela!" Nelson Mandela." Soon as I got my food, got our food, I was like, grabbed them, jumped in the taxi. Nah, let's go, bro. We go. Yeah. Nah,
Yeah. That was
yeah.
the
So
most happy as
that was a funny. I thought that was a cool story. Go from this nightclub, celebrating fourth place, and then seeing the Aussies get beaten up.
Yeah.
To, almost getting beaten up ourselves at the burger joint because of my
Just
mate.
stop for a munch, yeah. Just
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
for a munch.
Uh,
Shout out to
so
the brother.
yeah,
That's a good one. South Africa, man. Obviously, yeah, you end up winning a chip though with the Blues, brother.
yeah.
What was that whole year like?
That was cool. Like we trained. Like we went up to up north there, up to Tutakaka. Went up to Tutakaka there. Did our preseason training up there. Boys were fit, and I think we, I don't know about all the other boys, but I had a sense that man, this year could be something special, and I guess it was off the back of. Guess what made me feel that way was because we just won the NPC title. We
Oh yeah.
that was Cully's last I guess last pro game. He retired after that. Um, and we played them down in Wellington, beat them down there, and then but to get to that NPC final, we had to go down to Canterbury and take the Ranfurly Shield off them. You know, a few the week before, so we went down to Canterbury, took the Ranfurly Shield, obviously got us into the semi-final. Went down to Otago, played Otago in the final, and then Eliesa Tanivula scores the winning try right on full time. That
Mm-hmm.
got us to Wellington, and then we beat Wellington and take out that title. So Auckland Rugby and I guess the guys that were part of the Blues were still buzzing from that, that NPC title. So we kind of carried that momentum on to through that year and kind of thing. And we had a great coaching group, like obviously Graham Henry,
Ooh, not too
Peter
bad.
Sloan. Peter Sloan Fitzy was our manager back there, and Bruce Robertson, the late
What made
Bruce.
what made him good, brother? Graham Henry as a coach.
I think it was his man management. Like he was cool. Like he was good at managing and I guess getting the best out of you know the Poly boys and I guess the Balangis and the team, whoever you were, he had a way of getting the best out of you. And for him, it was what I found anyway was that like some coaches they'll try and stop you from doing what you're good at.
Yeah.
Where Ted was, he just enhanced what you were already good at and encouraged you to express yourself. You know,
Yeah.
so I think a lot of the boys, myself anyway, I found that really, I guess refreshing. Not having a
Mm.
coach go, nah, don't do that.
Somebody back you, eh? In
Just
what you
just
do.
yeah, somebody that backed your ability and didn't mind you having a crack and for, if it didn't work out, it didn't work out, but at least
Mm.
have it a crack and I think that was his biggest strength was bringing, you know, the different cultures together and having the ability to get the best out of every single person in that team.
All
Yeah.
the best coaches, it seems like a common thread is like from rugby league and rugby is like they talk about Wayne Bennett and even Bellamy, even though he can be an angry fella. A lot of the people say it's like exactly what you said, being good at managing and understanding the different cultures and what works for each person, and that this might not work for that person, and like you said, allowing the abilities to flourish as well. That's interesting, brother.
Yeah, yeah. So that was cool, you know. And obviously I've been coached by coaches that, you know, they've got a hard line on what they want, and
Mm.
you know, it's so it was quite refreshing to have that um that freedom, so to speak.
Yeah, solid. What a team you said too, though. Like people, we talked about it before, and maybe Rubini, you should have had your mentor, because didn't he want to play for the All Blacks too, but he played for Fiji or something, or was he
Yeah,
too
yeah.
old?
Well,
Is that what, like,
he was always going to play for Fiji, and you know,
yeah, yeah.
Roops that year, like he's the
What a guy, man! What a weapon, freak.
yeah, he was a freak, and like every time we did testing,
Yeah,
like our 40-meter sprint or, you know, vertical jump weights, like he'll run as fast as he needed to run, you know, jump as high as he needed, like he wanted to jump.
yeah.
So like I think our trainers that year were like, oh, come on, Bruce, man, like, you know, can he try a little bit harder? He goes, oh, okay. You know, the Bruce are, yeah,
The very
ah,
just
okay,
cruisy,
bro.
just cruisy, yes.
Okay, bro. Yeah. That's it. You know, but and you know, the funny thing with Roops is like he used to get dropped off, you know, and some trainees will come late, and you know, coaches will be like, "Oh, Roops, you got to, you know, come earlier." Got to the point where they put him in the house right opposite Eden Park, you know, just so that, you know, he had no excuse for being late. And our captain's run before the Brumbies, that semi final in that '03 season.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him, and I looked across, and I said to our Doc at the time, I said, "Doc, Roops is not here." And he was like, "No, he's there." I said, "Nah," because I'm always like either passing with him or, you know,
Oh, yeah,
kicking the
yeah, yeah.
ball around with him. So I knew he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I had to run across the bless you, bro.
Sorry about the hay fever, but carry on. I can hear you.
Uh, um,
Sorry, brother.
so so I ran across the road, like I had to run across the road and knock on his door, you know. So I
This
knocked.
is the
I knocked
semi-final.
semi-final. This is but the captain's run before we played the Brumbies at Eden Park,
My
and
man.
we trained on the number 2 at Eden Park. So I had to run up these
Yeah.
stairs, run across the road, knock on his door, and he opens the door, and he's still like he just woke up. I go, I was like, Roops, you're late. We got captain's run, and he goes, "Oh, okay, bro." He just closes
The
the door.
man.
Yeah, he just closes the door, and I'm like, okay. So I just run
Are
back
you
to
coming or?
I just run back, go back to training, and then like for somebody who's late, like you think, oh, he'll be running down, putting his boots on. Mate, this guy walks slowly down the stairs, takes his time, comes, puts on his boots, and then he goes out and scores 2 tries against the Brumbies on the Saturday. And I was like, oh,
What a freak, brother.
man, only he could do something like that. It's like, oh well.
Bro, it was amazing to watch, And then he's obviously the next week he's give it to the old foe, eh?
Yeah, yeah. You know, got one up against the Satyrs, and but 2002, Brad Mika and I we got drafted to the Crusaders. So we spent and we won a championship with the Crusaders in 2002.
Oh
And
yeah.
then
Oh, how come Wikipedia didn't count that?
yeah, I know, yeah.
Someone
So
go write that in there.
yeah, I know. Come on, guys. Yeah, get it right, eh? Um,
2
but then, yeah,
championships,
then,
family.
then 2003 we come back home, and obviously got that second championship with the Blues, which was probably, you know, pretty satisfying there, and good to get one over the Crusaders.
Yeah, solid. Fast forward a little bit, brother, and you end up heading off to France. after a few years, eh? Was it France or
After
Japan first? Japan first, eh? Japan
Japan
first
first,
or
yeah,
what?
went to Japan first after the Sevens World Cup in Hong Kong.
Japan, France, back to Japan or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. So spent a couple of years in Nagoya. So
Yeah,
with
got a
word of a blitz.
got
So
a
I
got a got a story, got a Japan story for the peeps, like either
yeah,
that time or the next time.
I got a Japan story with
Let's
so
go
back
as well.
then we had Philo Titia, he was already there, and Troy Flavel.
Oh, Troy, yeah, Troy.
Big flares. So we was preseason. No, it was mid-season, and we had a fitness block and our trainer at the time is an Aussie fella, Nick Poulos. So our driveway to Toyota Rugby Club was quite steep, so he made us do like hundreds, 200s, 400s up there, and like the boys were just hating it. Like it was like, this is our week off, and you're making us do this. So anyway, doing these sprints up the hill and like just getting nothing out of it. Like, just boys are just moaning. And then Flavs was like cussing, he's like, F this man. Wow, I'm not a track and field star. Like, wow, so, and then like our trainer was like, come on guys, no, you gotta, he was pretty much looking at the foreigners to set the example, so to speak. And then so we had one more 200 and it was up the hill, and it was like we had done about 10 by then. We were supposed to do 12, and then Flavs was like, go. Flavs just sprints up this hill, runs past the 200 mark, and runs straight to his car and jumps in the car and goes. And we were like,
later,
like we were pissed off because he just had he had the balls to go just run straight to his car and go home. And we're like, fuck, we should have done the same, but like obviously we dropped nuts, we were like, nah.
yeah.
So the next day our trainer's trying to be all Flavs, that wasn't a good thing, man. Like, wasn't a good look, you're blah blah blah. And Flavs goes, mate, I'm a rugby player, not a track and field star. So I was like, all right, there you go. What he said. But,
Let's go.
So,
What was life like those in Japan? Was pretty cool.
It was cool.
Like,
I love Japan. Like I always say that if I get an opportunity to go back and coach, I'd love to go back to Japan. My two older kids, they were born in New Zealand but spent most of their time in Japan. So we put them in Japanese school, and so my oldest, Erica, she's 22 now. She has Down syndrome. Erica has Down syndrome, but we put her in Japanese school. She read Japanese, spoke Japanese, and and read Japanese and wrote Japanese fluently.
wow.
So she was cool. Like, and then obviously my son Javon, they picked up the language really well, and I've never seen a little Samoan Niuean kid clock Spider-Man on PS2, or PS on the PlayStation in Japanese. He's just he's all in Japanese, and he's like, and he just goes, ding 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 ding. And it's like, oh man, I just clocked the game. I'm like, huh.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
what about being a father, brother? Like you obviously a father. How many children do you have?
Yeah, five kids now.
Father of five.
So,
blessed is the man that has a quiver full. Let's go. Let's go. So what does being a father mean to you?
Yeah, obviously, my three older kids, from my first marriage and my first relationship. So, having
was that the one that was in the car with you at the Blues when you got pulled over, or no? Before another.
Yeah. To my first partner. Yeah. So, but just being obviously, the separation, and obviously me going to the States and being away from my three older kids, that was tough, but it was a decision that I thought at the time was the right one, and obviously everybody has their their opinions on it, and I thought that was for me that was the best decision
Mm-hmm.
for that time, and I guess in hindsight, it probably wasn't, because I was, I missed a lot of stuff, with my kids,
Mm-hmm.
so that was probably one of the biggest reasons why I came back from the States back to New Zealand to try and have my kids closer to me, and obviously be present and be around for them, you know.
Mm.
So yeah, but
Beautiful.
it's always a tough thing, when you're living away from your kids, and having that, I guess in my case, blended families. It's
Yeah.
always tough. But I talk to my friends that are in the same situation, and try and, I guess, get um encouragement, and I guess advice from them, because um, it does get tough, and obviously it
Mm.
weighs heavy on your mind at times, especially when you're trying to be a pro, rugby player, and trying to make, start all over again, and in terms of you know rugby, in the rugby sense, trying to find your feet as a coach, as a new coach like I was. Yeah, so it was tough, but I'm glad that I'm back in Aotearoa now, and obviously, you know, trying to be the best father I can be. Yeah,
At least you're trying, my brother. At least you're trying, but there's plenty out there that don't give a damn, brother. So,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
we make mistakes, we learn, we grow, brother. But at least you're trying, cuz straight up.
Amen, bro. Yeah,
Um,
I appreciate that.
and you end up in France though for too long. Great club there, eh?
Yeah, yeah. So we had a awesome team, and obviously the Blues, and then 2007, after the 2007 World Cup,
Mm-hmm.
um, I signed with Toulon,
Yep.
and Tana was the head coach. Tana was the head coach. We had Victor Matfield, come from South Africa. We had Andrew Murdens. We had Anton Oliver, Dan Luger from
Even
England.
even wasn't there also their left NRL with a Samoan passport came over there too, eh? 2008.
He came in the second year. Yeah, so he
Yeah, the
came in the
second year,
second
yeah.
year. Um,
Yeah, so that was
but that first year, like, we had some pretty.
crazy. Victor Matfield, brother. What's he like? Because well,
He was he was he was pretty cool. He was a cool cat, like,
yeah,
pretty suave. You know,
yeah,
like, showers every time. After the shower, he's always combing his long hair, and looking fresh and
yeah.
stuff like that. So he was cool, man. Like, and then Mertz was funny. Like, you know, Mertz spoke fluent French. So he would
True.
just walk up and down the streets of Toulon, and just, he got along with everybody because he spoke the language so well, and just on the field he was awesome. We had Griegs there too, like George Gregan.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
What a
Tusi
team, brother.
was
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
yeah.
Tusi was there. Um, but yeah, like, and then the second year, Jerry Collins and Sonny Bill turned up.
Big Jerry.
So, yeah, so
Yeah. What
that
was
was a
he
funny.
like,
That was
brother
a funny
Jerry?
time. He was. Oh, I've known Jerry since we were like NZ 16 schools and
Oh,
stuff like
true.
that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
him and I, like, got along, and we were pretty close. So, and the Jerry that I met at 16 years old was the same Jerry that, just
When you
the,
got to Toulon, the same when he came to Toulon, same Jerry, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
and, and,
like,
and we all met.
it's like Jerry did what Jerry wanted, and but behind all of that, he was quite a caring dude. Like, he cared for his friends and their families.
Mm.
Just made sure that everybody was okay before he made sure that our partners and the kids were okay before he took us out for 2-3 days of.
I
Okay,
love it.
okay, now he's with me. Yeah, we'll see you in a couple of days. And that was Jerry, but you know, people, loved him because of just how he was, straight up. And funny
Mm.
story though, like, Sonny
Yeah,
Bill
give
played
us
his
one, brother.
first game, home game for Toulon, and I think he got grass cut and came off injured, and
Yeah.
he was limping, and so before Sonny got his house, he was staying. He had to stay with Jerry just until he
Oh, did
got his house. So Jerry being the top dog in the house.
yeah.
After the game, we all went to Jerry's house, and he was like, had a few drinks and just chilling out, just relaxing. Obviously, Sonny didn't drink because he was that guy just looked after his body, like his recovery was so he didn't touch a drop. He was more worried
With
about
the weapon, eh?
So Jerry goes, "Hey, come here, the old island for four, massage." So Sonny was walking fine, like he was limping, but he could walk.
Yeah.
After Jerry massaged his the next day, Sonny couldn't walk. So they had to like it just got bad. Like the prisoners are like, "But you were walking yesterday," and then Jerry like massaged it. When it got the X-ray, and it showed that there was a little, like obviously a stress fracture or like a fracture, but it had spread, like it got bigger. It was because Jerry was like massaging her hard out that night before.
I got you also.
Oh man, this is how we do it in Samoa. We got to like.
But I needed some of those Fijian vines, eh, brother? Some of those magic Fijian vines.
Get the old tea leaves on there, and it'll be fine. But I was like, we are just
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
only Jerry could do that too.
Only Jerry could do that. So I was like,
rest in peace also, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like rest in peace. Like that dude was like, I remember he hurt his knee, had surgery on his knee, and had all our friends come over from New Zealand visit. So we go out for this lunch, and he was taking the painkillers, and obviously once you take the painkillers, he kind of gets drowsy and fall asleep. So we go out for this lunch, and we order, like we have this massive lunch. Comes to paying the bill, and then the man's like sleeping. Like, Jerry, can't wake him up. Can't wake him up. Yeah, God bless this guy's soul, man, because he's like, Jerry, can't wake him up. It's like, oh, okay, don't worry. So we go and pay the bill. As soon as we paid the bill, we go, oh, no, the bill's taken care of. Let's go. The man wakes up. Like, oh.
Yeah, took my meds, G.
You got us. Nah, that was a good one.
Yeah. So Toulon, how long are you there for, brother? Toulon?
Couple of years. I was there for a couple of years, and then the new coach was Philippe Saint Andre came in, and they wanted to extend me for another 3 years, but they asked me to take a pay cut because Johnny Wilkinson was coming the following year.
Wilco.
I was like, oh, nah. So I just, called my agent and I said, look, is there anything back in Japan? I'm keen to. So he called and Toyota, who I played for the first time I went to Japan, they
Blitz.
They came, the Red Blitz offered me a 3 years, so I was like, oh yeah, cool. So I came back to Japan, and because I really enjoyed my time in Japan, it was
pretty easy to go. Yeah, 100. Yeah. How did you go? Did you win any silverware in any of these little trips outside of the Blues in it? In Canterbury, obviously. Don't forget Wikipedia, guys.
Yeah. When we got to Toulon, they were in second division.
Oh, that's pretty mean.
So we kind of got Toulon into top 14. And then, they won, a few championships after that when, Johnny Wilkinson came, Matt Ghetto came out there. So, but yeah, like, just a lot of that stuff there. Japan, made the finals a couple of times, but always came up short, But
you end up back home, eh? After back for the Blues, end up playing for Northland in Auckland, eh? Is it?
Yeah. I came back in 2012, and I was like, I negotiated my own contract with Northland.
So
I was up there, went up there. I really enjoyed my time up there. It was cool. Like we had a good crew. We had Hale Tipole from the Highlanders,
Southland.
Southland, you know. We had Tone Kopelani from Christchurch, Canterbury, Hoka, and then we had a Samoan guy played for Manu Samoa, Fatoina Altangavaya. He's playing in France right now, but yeah, he came over and yeah, he did some good stuff up there, you know. So
Yeah, the taniwha. Yeah, taniwha.
yeah.
So in a couple more seasons in NBC, and then what happens there? You retire or?
Yeah, so I came back, and then I got called. Pat Lam called me back into the Blues in 2012, and I played 2 more games with. Played against the Force and the Brumbies, and then from there I ended up playing sevens again for Auckland. I won a national title. We went out to the World Sevens in London and stuff like that. And then and then I started getting into coaching, you know. And I got into coaching. I started coaching. I coached the Samoa under-20s in the World Cup in that 2014.
How did you go?
So me and Seymour and our coaching team, we took over that team, and they were 11th out of the 12 teams in that tier 1.
Yeah,
and we ended the tournament at 7th. We got inside the top 8.
that's good.
So that was a big success for us. We had some pretty good players in our team, who all were still eligible for under-20s the following year.
Yeah,
but they all went and played for New Zealand after that. So
cheeky buggers, eh?
yeah. So got into that coaching, and then not long after that campaign, I made the move to the States.
Yeah, how does that come about, brother? Is that when the MLR ML whatever it's called, RE Major League Rugby?
MLR, yeah. So it wasn't even
when that starts up.
Back then. No.
Oh, true.
So I just went over because a friend of mine was the manager, assistant coach for the Eagles, sevens.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously going through that,
they're doing pretty well now, or doing all right these days.
So going through that, obviously I went through that my divorce at that time, and then my mate was like, "Oh, do you want to come out here and kind of clear your head a little bit?" So made the decision to go over there. I started coaching a high school team, Granite Bay in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And then so because they played on Fridays, like I had nothing to do on the weekend, so I just kind of jumped on Facebook and I was like, "Oh, any good rugby teams out here?" And then literally 30 seconds later, I get this message on Facebook, and it was Adrian Ferris, who was my coach at the Taniwhas. He was running he was director of rugby in a chiropractic college down in close to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So he goes, "Oh man, you want to come play?" And I was like, "Well, I got nothing to do on the weekends." So he goes, "Oh, just come, if you can make one training a week." So I was driving 2 hours from Sacramento down to the Bay Area.
From the capital down to the Bay.
Yeah. Down there, and then finish training at 9:30, 10, 9:30, and then I'd turn around and drive back up to Sacramento because I had to coach on that Friday.
Yeah. All good though. You used to walk 2 hours when you were a kid.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
you got the flash shoes now.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up playing club rugby for Life West Chiropractic College, and Nili Latu came out there.
Oh,
so him and I we were out there, and then we won we took out the national championships with Life West, and then they started what it was used to be called North America Pro Rugby.
Yeah.
So it was almost like the first pro competition in the States, and mate, it was it was a bit of a laugh, just that's where Mills Muleina came out. Played. We all played for San Francisco Rush, and
the old Southland boy.
Yeah. So it was Yeah, that was an eye opener because one guy owned the whole league.
Oh, true.
Yeah, so like one owner, and he just controlled all the teams. And I remember our first game we were playing in Ohio, and we got to the airport and we got our boarding passes, and it was like, oh, Mills. But Mills was still in Italy. He still hadn't finished his season. He was coming like in the next 3 weeks, but he already had a boarding pass. It's like, oh, like, he's not here. He's not here for another 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, so who's this guy? It's like, oh, that's the GM for the team that we're going to play. He doesn't need a ticket. So that was a bit of a laugh, but that lasted 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah.
And then it crashed, crashed and burned. And
Yeah. Also,
then
did you get to like finish your season before it crashed and
so
burned?
we finished the season, but then after that, once everything finished up, wrapped up, then they just said, oh, I think a lot of the teams and coaches that were part of the setup, like they ended up taking that one guy to court, to try and recoup some of their losses and stuff like that. So yeah.
Speaking of that, did the fellow in Toulon pay you properly? Because heaps of people say that the Barry owes them money.
I eventually I got paid out. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's,
pay your people, you bastard.
Yeah. It's funny we speak about that because when Jerry passed away, we went back with the Classic All Blacks to play Toulon, and it was like a memorial game for JC.
Yeah.
And we went there, and Andy Hayden, the late great Andy Hayden, he was the Classic All Blacks, man, kind of organizer. And we get there and we have our captain's run, and then they pull me aside, and him and Robbie Deans were like, "Hey Renz, the cops are here." I was like, "Oh, what's that for?" He goes, "Oh, they're saying that you owe." Apparently the president was like, "I owe them money."
Oh, eh?
Yeah.
What?
He was like, he goes, "Oh yeah, the police are here to they want to take me in to question because I owe the president money." I was like, "How's where you owe me money and yet I'm the one that's supposed to pay you back?" Like, anyway, so Andy Hayden was like, "You walk away now. Whatever you've got against Renz, drop it. Otherwise, I'm pulling the pin on this game. So it's up to you." And they just, so. But I was like, really?
Wow, really?
I think he was pissed off because when he didn't pay me, we took him to court. And obviously won payout, so he was trying to get something. Oh, I don't know what it was, but
it's been dirty, eh?
Just
shout out to Andy Hayden though, eh, brother? Like having your back like that, that's pretty cool.
Awesome, yeah. But it was funny.
Hey, good. Was it? Sorry.
No.
Just because. Sorry, but because obviously we, remote. There's a bit of a delay sometimes. But my bad. No, what were you saying about Robbie Deans?
No, but it was just funny how after a really good captain's run, and just excited to be there with the boys, and then you see Robbie Deans and Andy Hayden come over here, mate. Something's up. I was like, but I knew something was up because I seen like there was probably about 8 to 10 cops like hanging around. I was like, wonder what's happening here. And then when they called me
Orene Ai'i. What a like you're a terrorist or something.
Yeah, holy right. Oh yeah,
surely one cop car would have been enough.
I know.
At least you got your money though, brother. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Because
wasn't much, but I got it anyway.
At least you got it, brother. Doesn't matter, like pay up, cuz. Straight up. Pay your ticket. No.
Yeah.
100. Wait. Oh, because was Norman that game too? Because Norm passed away not long after either, eh? Was Norman that game?
Nah, Norm wasn't at that game. Nah,
different. I seen he played. Maybe it was a different Classic All Blacks game.
They played. Yeah, they played. I think they played that one in Italy. The one that Norm.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
RIP to the Norms.
Shame, so man, we've lost some good ones, eh?
Yeah, hard, brother. Handy. Life too, like shows how sometimes the greatest humans go early. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, mate. When it's your time, eh? you know.
That's
So
that's it, Us.
yeah,
And you never know. So you just gotta make the most of what you can while you're here. Eh?
exactly, man.
And how do you end up in the? So that whole thing folds. How do you end up in the MLO? Or how does that pop up straight away? A couple years later?
No,
Or?
no, it was a few years after, like, so that pro rugby started in 2016,
Yeah,
and then MLR I think started around 2018,
yeah. So what are you up to now?
2019.
Are you still in America? Are you still in the States? Still
So I'm still in
working,
the States
coaching?
then. I'm still in the States. And then I start running a rugby academy out there,
Yeah,
Rhinos Rugby Academy. I start doing programs with the youth, still playing for Life West and whatnot. And then moved out. And then when the MLR stuff, there was talks of, um, you know, LA or, you know, different teams popping up.
mm,
So it was quite interesting because it was myself, Jeff Urome, Brad Mika, and another friend of ours, Cam Kilgore. We said, oh look, you know, let's put in a joint application for LA.
yeah,
um, and it was the weirdest thing, man. Like, so we put this. Cam puts this presentation together, presents it to the owner of LA Giltinis, the F45 guy,
yeah,
Adam Gilchrist. So he presents it to him, and then Cam gets hired straight away because he liked it so much. He goes, "Oh, look, you know, I want you to be my manager." So from there, me and the boys were like, Jeff and Meeks were like, "Oh, what's going on? Like, you know, are we still doing this? You know?" And then I kind of got, you know, I understood where Cam was coming from because Cam said, "Look, why don't you guys just apply individually because it's really hard. Usually, how it works is you hire your head coach first, and then he picks his
yeah.
team.
Oh,
But in
okay.
this case, he's hired the manager first, so obviously he's just in charge of operational, you know, how the team runs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But in terms of selecting a coaching staff, that wasn't his area. So he advised us to apply individually. So I just jump on and I was like, oh yeah, cool. I send, you know, Cam my CV, you know, and then it's crazy. It was like around August, late August to 2019.
yeah.
I get this FaceTime call from Cam and the owner, and they're at this guy's, you know, house in Bondi or something, like, you know, Darling Harbour, like having a few drinks, cocktails, and they're like FaceTiming me, and they go, and the owner, like, I still remember the call, like Adam Gilchrist goes, "Hey Renz, man, like, you know, I don't really know you from a bar of soap, but you know, Cam reckons you're a good guy. So yeah, you're hired."
Just like that,
Just like that. And I'm like, and then I
eh?
was like, okay, thank you. But then I was like, how do I
So what does that
like,
mean?
I can't get excited because I haven't signed anything.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
she
yeah. The bro just said
FaceTime
it and
me.
he's wasted. He's probably
Yeah,
wasted, eh?
he's off his case. So I don't really know how to take this, but so I just hold on. So that was late August 2019.
Yep.
I didn't sign my contract until the 1st of March 2020.
Oh, oh
But
far out.
from yeah, but from the time that he said that I was hired, I was the only coach hired, and
At
I was the
all.
only coach on the ground in LA. So I had to move from
Oh.
Sacramento down to LA.
Oh, so what happens there? Because you got your academy, everything? Like, did you
Yeah,
set it
so
all up
I
down
left
those
the
ways?
academy. I left the academy because
Oh, okay.
obviously I was pursuing, you know, higher coaching honors, and so I leave it and I pack up this U-Haul truck, you know, and
Yeah.
I drive down to
Well,
LA.
before you haul us down to LA, give us got a Sacramento story for us since we got a story everywhere. Surely there's one
Yeah, Sacramento story. Gee,
or just coaching, that's all. No, no.
yeah, no. Just nothing in Sac. It was quite boring
No.
in Sac.
Did you get into the yeah, I heard yeah, I've heard it's not the most fun place.
I,
But
I, I, I
did you have
well, I guess
any
a
things, but
story in Sac.
yeah.
got a story in sec. So backtrack a few years. I coached this Stars team in Australia.
Yeah.
Obviously, I go there and I meet this young Tongan, girl who's I looked at her and I was like, man, she's pretty good. I think I see some, but she was like full on, I don't know. She was about that life, I didn't care, she just did it because she thought she had
Yeah.
talent. So I sat her down and I said, look, what do you want to achieve in your rugby? And she goes, oh, I'm from South Sac, we never make it out, blah, blah, blah. So I said, oh, if I invest time and energy and, mentor you, would you let me help you? She was like,
Mhm.
looked at me like, who the is this dude?
Yeah, actually.
So anyway, I go, look, I'll help you out. I'll send you training programs, whatever, mentor you. And this was like around October
Mhm.
2015.
Yep.
So we leave that tour. She goes back to America, and I keep sending her these training programs, making sure that she's training.
Yep.
November, she gets called into the Eagles. She makes the Eagles, and she's hating it. She hates it. Like she's like, no, I don't belong here. I the trainings are hard, and I was like, but in Aussie, she gave me 2 goals. She wanted to play for the Eagles, and
Yeah.
she wanted to make the Olympics.
Yeah.
Go to the Olympics so I said, okay, cool, I'll help you. So she makes the first goal. She makes the Eagles. And then she's hating it because the trainings are hard. She doesn't feel like she deserves to be in that environment.
Mhm.
And I go, like I said at the start of the program, I said, always go back to your main goal. You know, that'll help
Yeah.
drive and kind of guide you
Yes.
to what you need to do.
Yes.
So she goes, yeah, like she's cussing me out. Like she's like, oh, whatever, it's easy for you to say, blah, blah. You just make me train and, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, fast forward, she sends me I'm in the States now and
Yeah.
coaching, and she sends me a message. She goes, oh, are you able to make the Olympic ceremony? And I was like, oh, why is that? And she's like, oh, we've just got to put people's names down that we might want in the ceremony, just in case we make it. And I was like, that's a bit odd. Like, why would you?
Why you want me?
Yeah, like, why would they make players
If you
invite,
if
and
you're not gonna make it, eh?
yeah. So I said, have you made the Olympics? And she's like, you can't tell anybody, but yeah, I made the Olympics. So I
Oh.
was like, so that, I guess, my success story, not my success story, but a cool story out of SAC was I was able to help this young Tongan girl, Pacific Island girl, go
That's
from,
that's on, brother.
this
That's
life,
awesome.
and kind of mentor her. And now, like, she went to the Olympics. She, she's a mainstay, and, in the squad now. She's still there, like, after 10 years,
Can we name drop or do we gotta go Google?
So her name's Joanne Favesi.
Yeah, the
So
Joanne
Joanne,
Farvesi. That's good.
yeah, Joanne Favesi, out of South Sacramento. So yeah, but
Yeah. That's
so
cool,
that was
my
a cool
brother.
story for me, like, having an impact on a player's, I guess, development and progress. But
Even
yeah,
the fact she came out of there, but you weren't even living there yet, eh? When by the time like you hadn't
yeah.
even
So
moved there, right?
I met her when they came to Australia with the American team. Saw
Yeah.
something and I was like, then I kind of asked questions, and then when I moved to America, then I got
Yep.
to got to know her and her family, and kind of, I was able to, like, do trainings face to face with her now,
Yeah.
and her sisters and her relatives, they kind of started the Sacramento Amazons, what it was called back then. It was like the
Yep.
first women's rugby club in Sacramento. So
Bro, that's cool, man. Like
yeah, so it was
pioneers,
a
eh?
cool story. Yeah,
Even
and
like
then
Samu Manoa, the
yeah, yeah,
Tongo.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
because I had him on the other day, and he was talking about like even in his neighborhood, because like they back in the Bay, that
yeah,
him and
yeah.
his uncle started a club there, and then pretty much him and his bros, he pulled all of his bros like let's go play rugby. And like now,
yeah.
like there wasn't no junior teams, but now there is. And like sort of like he was like, oh, I'm sort of a pioneer, it's like stay humble. I was
Oh,
like, wow, of
100%.
course you are, brother.
Oh, yeah.
100. Oh, that's
Someone's
me.
the man. Yeah.
Yeah, for the man. Yeah, the man, solid guy, man. 100%. So you end up in LA in that, my brother. You end up in LA, end up with the job.
Yeah.
But this is like 2020. That's COVID, brother. Like, what's the go
Yeah,
there?
it was right in the heart of like COVID. I was the only coach that was hired.
Yeah.
I didn't even know if I was a head coach. It's just whatever. They just said I was hired. So, but because I was the only coach on the ground,
Yeah.
I had to try and kind of connect the community and do a lot of community engagements, try and drive a LA Giltini's development program. So we're doing all of this. I was doing all of this in COVID during COVID,
Yeah.
and I hadn't even signed my contract yet. Remember, I signed my contract on the 1st of March.
Oh, so you're not even getting paid
No,
at this
well,
time?
to be fair to him, he
Yeah.
paid me for
Oh,
all
what
of
a
that
weapon.
without even
That's
signing a contract. Like, so he was paying
what a
me,
legend. Yeah,
so he
without
was the
anything.
man. Like, obviously
Yeah.
F45 was doing well at that time, and
Yeah, 100.
get some chump change to throw my way. But he paid me right up until, and then obviously when they started getting his management group together,
Yeah.
then obviously the new guy that came in, the CEO came in, and it was like, oh, okay, because he was just like, yeah, whatever, pay. And then the new CEO came in and was like, oh, okay, you're gonna have to take a pay cut, during COVID. I was like,
Oh, those ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, man, you're the new guy, you just came in, huh?
Yeah, I've
So
been doing the
I took a
mahi
pay
cuts
cut,
there.
yeah,
I've been doing the
took a pay
mahi
cut,
out
but
there.
then got back on full payroll once everything started going
Yeah.
on.
What was LA like during COVID, brother? What was that like?
I was like, nothing was open. Like you couldn't go out to the parks, and you could walk around, but like all the fields, just trying to get trainings to a park to do some training, like nothing. And there was like 30,000-40,000 cases, a day,
Yeah.
and so during preseason, once they heard that like we couldn't train in LA, the boss was like, "Oh yeah, take the whole team and go to Maui for a month."
Yeah.
He
Okay.
flew us to Maui, and we did preseason in Maui for a month, and and I guess that's what helped us win the championship, and obviously we had
Yeah.
McGiddo there, Adam Ashley Cooper, Dave Dennis.
Yeah, they go righty. Yeah,
Yeah,
they go right.
not too bad for those Aussie boys. Yeah,
Yeah, Aussie boys.
but
Was
yeah, it
there
was
any
cool.
Kiwis on the team too? Ooh.
We had Jordan Trainer. He
Was
came
it
out.
Megan Trainer's brother? Or...
I don't know, cousin,
See
I
the
think.
brother, mate. See the brother, Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But then we had Marco Puleai, played for Ponies
oh,
out here, Auckland
solid.
NPC. So he came out here. He was out there for a couple of seasons. So
No, I mean,
yeah.
what's your biggest takeaway from the whole USA experience, my brother?
I guess the whole US experience was obviously, if you wanted to start something,
Mm-hmm.
it was easy to, like, you just had to pull trigger on it and go for it, because there's so many opportunities to kind of start your own thing in America.
Yeah.
Um, from a rugby standpoint, there's it's developing,
Yeah.
but they still need the coaches the quality coaches to be able to coach quality the players there,
Yeah.
like. And I think you've got to take rugby and football and separate the two in terms of the metrics, right? In football, you got to be 6'4", 200 and whatever pounds, to be in a certain position. Where rugby
Yeah.
is like, if you're good at it, unless
Yeah,
you're
whatever.
a forward, if you're a back, if just look at Cheslin Colby, He's a
Yeah,
small
brother.
dude, but he could do the just as much damage as somebody that was 6'4",
Yeah,
So
100.
trying to separate, and I guess trying to get those players to understand that you don't have to bench 180, 200 kgs to be the man.
Oh, is that
You
a
know?
big mentality over there, brother? Like it's about
Yeah,
how much you can throw around, like how
yeah,
much tin you
yeah.
can throw around makes you
I
the
said,
man.
"Oh, I'd
Oh,
rather you
okay.
be able to throw that ball around and catch it than
Yeah.
throw tin around." But just trying to change that mindset around. Oh, I've got to be strong. I've got to be, you know, throw all this weight around to be effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna have the World Cup in like what in the next two World Cups, eh? Is it?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah. So after
Yeah.
Aussie, yeah. So 2027's in
It's gonna
Aussie.
be interesting. You'll be part of the in a way. Like when you think
Hope
about it,
so.
you're
Like,
part of
that's the goal.
a part of them. But even if you're like a part of the teaching, but you're part of laying some foundations over there, brother, in a lot of
So to
ways.
speak, yeah. Well, when you talk about that pro rugby, the first pro rugby tournament, I guess you could say I was a pioneer in that. In terms of,
Yeah.
I remember when
What?
Mills turned up. Mills turned up, and we trained at Grease, like Grease, the movie.
Yeah.
They sit on the bleachers, and you see the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
people running around the track, and then you got the field in the middle.
Yeah.
Our field was exactly like that, and I was in Hayward, like the Bronx of
Is it the
the
hood?
Bay Area.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and Mills, I remember Mills walking around, and he goes, "Man, oh, this looks like a scene out of Grease." And I was like, "Yeah, uh, yeah." I was like, "Yeah, it does, it does." Yeah. But yeah, that was a funny story because that field was like an open public field. So
Oh, true.
every now and
Yeah.
then, like you have like all the Mexicans come and play soccer, right? But they have to have a
Yeah.
permit. They have to have a permit
Oh.
to use it. So we had a
Oh,
permit
true.
to train rugby.
Yeah.
When you're trying to kick 50 Mexicans off the field, in the end, it's like, okay, you guys play soccer on half the field, and then our pro team will train on half the field. So it was like, no trouble. So
Orale.
yeah, yeah,
Orale.
listen,
Yeah. They're trying to get shot out, eh?
yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah. So
No, cool, brother.
that was Millsy's introduction into
Mm.
pro rugby in America.
Sharing the field with the Mexicans, eh? Let's go.
Standoff, the Mexican
Did,
standoff.
did you get into any other sports over there, like American sports, basketball, football? Did you go and watch
Yeah,
any,
like
by
I
the way?
always followed the football.
Oh, okay. Your team.
Yeah,
You got a team or?
um, I was a Steelers fan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Throw
Steelers,
Palomalu. Yeah.
Palomalu, the bus.
Yeah.
Um, Big Ben. But and then obviously
100.
being in the Bay Area, we used to go a lot. The rugby boys used to go to the Giants baseball,
Oh,
or the
okay.
A's,
Yeah.
the Oakland A's, and then the Warriors. The Warriors. Go watch Steph.
Wow. Gun.
Up, yeah,
Steph, man. But yeah, but you were a Steelers fan before you even got to the States.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think
Solid,
I got
bro.
it from my cousins. Like all my cousins are Steelers fans, so they
Oh, solid.
used to send out stuff, and I
Oh,
still
yeah. Oh,
remember.
because did you have some
I
family
still
over there,
remember.
like when you went over there? Or was it us?
No, no, I still remember. When we were in Toulon,
Yeah.
I went to the office at Toulon, and the commercial dude, like the marketing guy, I saw all these, like there was a Tomlinson jersey there, Polamalu jersey, and gee, I forget the other jersey, but there were 3 football jerseys there, and he was like, "Oh," in his French accent, "Oh, you like football?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's one of my the Steelers, my favorite team." And he goes, "Oh yeah, you can take it." So I took the jersey, and I took the Polamalu one, and I wore it, to training the next day. And Tana
Yeah.
goes, and I got there, and Tana goes, "Oh, where'd you get your jersey from?" I go, "Oh, the guy at the office, he said he got it delivered to him, so he gave it to me." And he goes, "Oh, those are my jerseys. I was waiting for them for."
Did he
Okay.
take it off you or did he leave it?
Nah, he just let me have it. He goes, "Nah, oh, the guy at the marketing guy said that he just got centre, so he didn't know what to do with it. So he gave me. I said I'll take the Polamalu one. So Tana just took the Tomlinson, Ladanian Tomlinson one, and I forget
And
the
that
other
all.
one. But I was like, sorry.
And Tana's coach, at the time,
Yeah,
he was
yeah, I know.
Wait,
Uh,
what's Tana like, brother? As a coach, as a man, is it like what's Tana like?
Nah, he's good, eh? Like he was really good for us. Up in France, he just it was all about family and stuff like that. Just making sure that everything was cool. Um, but yeah, like just funny, yeah. Like I think the good thing about Tana was like because he was so close with like most of us, he knew the boundaries. Like he knew how to separate the friendship and the coaching,
Yeah.
which was good and honestly,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I think
Was
I know why I didn't get selected for one of those teams because I took his jersey. The man was mad.
I hope
Eh?
you, I hope you wore it on the sideline too when it was
Uh,
game time.
honestly, I felt bad, but I was like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I already wore it. It was my
Too
jersey."
late, G.
Yeah,
Nah, safe,
blame
brother.
blame the marketing guy. He's the one that
Yeah,
said it.
yeah. I couldn't understand. It was his French, cause I couldn't understand.
Yeah,
Wait, before
that's
we get
cute.
out of here, Mo, so I've got a couple of questions for you, if that's all right. Sorry, I've lady, considering
Nah,
it took you for 40 days, it sounds like. But I guess. Oh, actually, before we do, 42, you go and play. You come out of retirement and play for your team at 42. What's the
yeah.
go there?
So it was actually um Gits. So he tore his calf, and then
Hmm.
like he was trying to get back. Then his calf got better, and then went down to his Achilles. He was just trying so hard to get back to playing, but
Yeah.
just whatever he did, like just he just couldn't get it right, and he couldn't like every time he did his test to come back to play, something else will happen. So in the end, the coaches were like they had another young Aussie guy that was covering for 10, but they didn't really see him. You know, he wasn't the guy. They didn't think that he was the guy. And I was training anyway because of the MLR and the salary cap.
Hmm.
Um, it was really hard for us to bring guys into the squad. So like sometimes the coaching staff would have to fill in, those numbers to run opposition
Oh,
and
true.
games,
Actual. Yeah.
So I was already training anyway. Like, our coaching staff would train early in the morning, stay fit, blah, blah, blah. Then in the end, they were like, oh, look, would you be able to, fill in and play 10 because we need somebody to control the. So I was like, yeah. So I ended up playing those 8 games, got us to like we were top in the Western Conference, and then they kicked us out. They kicked our teams out. I was like, oh, wow. But yeah, but at 42, I was quite lucky that I kept myself in shape, and
Yep.
but to touch on that, me coming in and filling in for Gits,
Yep.
I think as a coach and as a fan of Matt Gitter,
Yep.
like what he did while he was injured, he was the first guy in the gym. He did like his program down to the T. Like he walked out of that gym like drenched, like wet, soaking wet
Yeah.
from just all the hard work. And
All the
I
bung
said,
calf and all.
yeah, and I said to him, look, you may not think it, but a lot of us just witness greatness outside of the field by
Yeah.
what you did. And I hope that these young boys and our hope was that those young boys that were walking into that gym and seeing him first on there, last on to leave, recovery, doing everything, that they took something away from it, and
Mm.
then and it's cool. Like, I always message him now and then, and like so now he's back signed with San Diego with Mata and that. Um,
Is he still playing?
yeah, he's gone back. He's
All
signed with
right.
San
Gee, what
Diego.
a whip.
Yeah, I
What a
think he went
whip.
back because he was hoping that last year with LA was
Yep.
going to be his swan song, and because it didn't finish the way he wanted to, um, he signed with San Diego again. So hopefully they go on and win the championship for his sake.
Yeah, 100. Even
Yeah.
Ma'a, baby. Shout out to Ma'a still running the
No,
ball
Mars still
there.
carving over there. So
What a
yeah.
gun there. Yeesh. Now, all
Yeah.
right, and also, who was the biggest pest in your career, like of all your teammates?
Pissed. Oh no, Ali Williams. Like when he first came on the scene, he was
Oh, true.
he was quite a cheeky bugger, eh? Like confident.
Yep.
And he backed himself in, but like he used to rub the boys up the wrong way every now. But like he became one of the best guys, to be around.
Yeah.
I still remember when he came into a ruck knees first and cleaned out Ron Cribb, and then this was
Yeah.
2003, and then Cribby landed on top of him and just gave him that, broke his nose. And I think from that day on, Ali was like, okay, now I gotta
Yeah.
step up and earn my stripes around this area. So, but yeah, Ali was funny. Like he was a cheat, like he was a funny, annoying pest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ali gets the title, eh?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about top 5 players you played with, brother, in your whole career? That doesn't mean they're like the greatest of all time. Just for you, like as a player, like boom, those are the top 5. Like, and that could be relative to now. Tomorrow, you could be asked this question from someone in Hollywood, and you could have another answer.
Yeah. No, I'd say my top 5 would be Michael Jones.
Ooh,
Michael
yeah.
Jones.
But even as a Samoan, there is a young Samoan, brother.
Yeah.
Like, those was the man, G.
Yeah. So Michael Jones, to Eric Rush.
Yep.
Eric Rush, Jonah would be up there.
Guys, all right.
Yeah. Ali Lotiti.
Yep. Yeah.
And Mills Molina.
Yeah, the main, brother. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what do you choose? Just one meal. Can't be like 4 different meals put together. It's got to be an actual dish, cuz.
A dish would have to be a banana cake, eh?
Hey, like the old banana cake.
Yeah.
Let's go, brother.
Yeah.
We've had some interesting ones though. I haven't had banana cake yet. There we go.
Yeah. Good old banana cake for me.
um, how did you avoid temptations of, say, like alcohol and all of those things growing up, or like too much partying coming through the grades to pursue your professional career?
Well, at first, when I was young, I never used to touch and then somehow
Okay.
I got into it, and got the bug, and and I guess that's what I struggled with that, at certain points in my career, and obviously, I guess I put that down to why my breakdown in my marriage happened.
Yeah.
Just because
At least
of
you're honest about it. At least you're
yeah,
honest about it, man.
that, and it's funny, like when coming out of 42 years old, out of retirement, after winning the first championship with LA,
Yeah.
like we went on, like the boss took us to Las Vegas and just put it all on for us, and we were there 4 days, and from that day it was probably the last time when we got back, that was the last time I touched a drop of alcohol. So I hadn't drunk for like 3 years or something like that. So, and I think that's what helped me in that second year to come out and play as well. And then now and then, like I probably I don't really touch it anymore. Like I don't really drink now. So, but I guess what made me avoid or not drink as much now is probably mistakes in the past. And obviously just being back home now, being around my kids and stuff like that, just trying to, I guess, not have them see me in that light. I have quite drink here and here, but it's not like how it used to be where you a couple of days on it
Partying
and,
for days.
yeah, not the JC,
brother.
not the JC
Not
but
the
yeah,
JC massages.
yeah.
No, solid, brother. Beautiful. If you could have one superpower, what power do you choose and why?
One superpower and probably to. Yeah, there's a probably teleport and kind of go back in time and
Oh, yeah, like a time
go
travel
back,
teleport.
time
Oh, yeah,
travel,
yeah.
teleport, try and kind of travel back in time, go for, just to, I guess, do things differently
Mm.
in the past. And then obviously go to the future and see what the future will look like and
Oh, yeah.
kind of,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Um, there's a young player, like 2018, and he's on the verge of making debut or around those systems, and he's asked you, Orene, what's a piece of advice you have for me, brother? Or even just a human being out there that's trying to, is trying to do better, trying to be better, trying to learn and grow.
Yeah, I think my advice to those young players or any young person that's trying to better themselves, I guess just stay true to yourself. Obviously, don't change because you see other people succeeding. Like, just, I guess, stay in your lane and obviously focus on what you can control. And
Yeah,
I have the same that I say to a lot of the kids that I coach and a lot of the players that I come across is, have fun working hard. Yeah. So if you're enjoying it and you're having fun with it, you're it's going to be rewarding, because the hard work that you put in, it's all going to be worth it in the end. So have fun, work hard,
yeah.
and yeah,
I seen Mike Tyson say, "You gotta do what you hate, but do it like you love it." Yeah,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah. So
Let's see.
same,
Nice,
same.
brother. And same, but different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lastly, also, writing some more goals. Give us one more goal 10 years from now, Orene.
So 10 years from now, I'll probably obviously from a coaching standpoint, you know, coaching at international level.
Yep.
Whether that's with Samoa or New Zealand, but coaching at an international level. And then obviously, just being around and I guess being able to walk my son or my daughters, down the aisle and let them, do their thing, seeing them, I guess, create their own families and whatnot. So yeah.
Beautiful, Miles. Hey, Miles, thank you so much for this. Time's the most valuable commodity we have as human beings. And I've nearly taken up 2 hours of your time, Miles. I didn't intend to, but that's the way the cookie crumbled and the conversation flowed. And thank you for being so open, so honest about your journey, about some of the bad times, some of the things you could have done better. And just, hopefully someone takes some gems from this, man. I appreciate you so much, my brother. And hopefully it's not the last time we connect. Maybe we can even have an orange juice because we won't be drinking in the flesh sometime.
Yeah, nah. Appreciate that, man. Thanks, Shavs, for the opportunity to jump on here. And obviously, like you said, if somebody can take something away from tonight's session, then we've done a good job. That's
Yeah.
a win for us. So, nah, appreciate you, man, and hopefully we can connect again. And like you said,
Yeah, all right,
have
brother.
orange juice, man.
Thank you so much for watching this full episode of Mind the Mic. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to create these episodes. So to know that you've watched and listened to the entire thing means the world to myself and all our hosts. If you could, before you leave, please hit the subscribe button and share this episode out to as many people as possible. It would help us so much. Thank you again to everybody that's still here, still watching. Thank you for all your comments, all your shares, all the DMs. Appreciate you all. Make sure you follow us on every platform. Have an awesome morning. Have an awesome night, depending on where you are in the world. Mind the mic out.
Oi, have you hit the link in bio yet?
Watch full episodes on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all streaming platforms.
Do